I want to start a cupcake business, but I don't have an oven or a mixer. Who told you need an oven or a mixer to start a cupcake business? Are you a stay-at-home mom, a student, or even a civil servant looking for a side hustle? Then stay till the end of this tutorial, because in this tutorial, I'll teach you how to start a cupcake business with little capital and no tools, as well as the packaging, the cost, and also the profit involved. If this sounds like what you're interested in, stay tuned. So first, we are going to start with making vanilla cake, and I'm going to be using this margarine. A sachet of this margarine is 250 gram, and I'm going to be using half of it, which is 125 gram. Also, it's not compulsory you use this particular brand of margarine that I'm using. You can use any brand of your choice. After adding your margarine in the bowl, the next thing that goes in is your sugar, and I'm using 1 cup of sugar here. You can see how I leveled the sugar, right? So you can choose to reduce the quantity of sugar if it's not for commercial purpose, maybe just for home consumption, and you are not a fan of sugar, you can reduce it to half cup. But we are using 1 cup here because apart from sugar being a sweetener, it also serve as a preservative for the cake, since we will not be adding preservative to this cake. So you continue to mix this together until the color changes from yellow to pale white, creamy, and also until you can barely notice any trace of sugar. So here you go, this is what we are looking for. Next thing that goes in is a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So we go ahead and add that and cream together. I like to add vegetable oil to my commercial cupcakes because it helps the cake to stay moist for days. After creaming that together, it's time for us to break our eggs, and I'm going to use 3 large eggs. Trust me, my camera is not doing justice to this egg. They are really large. So when you're using egg, you use large eggs for this particular recipe. Don't go and buy small eggs and say you're still using 3 eggs, because definitely the quantity will not be the same thing. And I always like to break my egg in a separate bowl before adding to the batter. This way you can detect if there is any bad egg among your eggs, and also because any little error can make your cake to go bad, and also save you cost. Imagine you're breaking the 3 eggs directly into the batter, and maybe on the 3rd egg you find out that that particular egg is bad. What will you do? It means you're going to trash all of it, because there's no way you'll be able to remove that egg once it has entered. So that is why it's always best to break your eggs separately in a bowl before adding. So I've added the first egg into the batter. I'm just going to do the same for the second egg. So it's also very important to beat your egg very well until it becomes foamy. That way it will also help to increase the volume of your batter. So I'm doing the same for the second egg, and I'll also do the same for the third egg before adding. So I've added the second egg, and this is the third one I'm beating. Also make sure the eggs you're using is not cold and is at room temperature. Adding the egg gradually like this will make the mixing easy for you, unlike when you just pour in the 3 eggs at once. You find it difficult to mix them together, but when you add them gradually like this, it becomes easier to mix. So it is at this point we are supposed to introduce our flavor, but guess what? I forgot to add flavor to this particular production. So my advice to you is always get your ingredients ready and close to you before you start. So it is now time to add in our flour, and we are going to be making use of 2 cups of flour. So as you can see, I'm measuring the flour now. Look at exactly how I'm measuring flour. So when a recipe calls for a cup of flour or 2 cups of flour, this is exactly how you will measure your flour into the cup. Make sure it is leveled like so, and also make sure that your flour is always sifted. And also make sure that your flour is sifted before you measure. Don't measure your flour before you sift. Make sure that it is sifted before you measure, because trust me, you will not get the same quantity when you measure a flour before you sift. Then you start doubting the recipe that you're using. Sometimes it is not the recipe that you're using that is wrong. It is what you are doing while trying to follow the recipe. So I've added the first cup. This is the second cup I'm adding now. And I'm also going to add half tablespoon of baking powder. So you can see how gently I'm folding in the batter, right? Don't go and fight with the batter because your cake will not come out well. So you do it as gentle as you can. Just mix until the everything is well incorporated. Then you stop. Don't over mix. When you over mix, your cake will become dense. It will come out strong and heavy. Then you now come and be saying, hey, I followed this recipe exactly the way you did it, and my own came out like this, my own came out like that. You did not follow it exactly. So when you do it exactly the way it is done, your cake will come out very well. So that is quarter cup of water I added though, and it's looking like that because it's the same cup I used to measure the oil that I used to measure the water. That's why it's looking like that. So we are adding this water in place of the milk that we're not going to add. For commercial cupcakes, we don't need to add milk to it because milk will reduce the shelf life of your cake. So for your cake to stay longer, just avoid milk. So we are done with the batter. It's now time for us to grease our pan because we are not using a cupcake liner, and this is to reduce the cost because eventually if you are going to sell to your customers, you are going to maybe package in a leather. So using cupcake liner, it will be an extra cost which is not really necessary. But make sure you are greasing your pan generously. Make sure you grease your pan very well, and afterwards sprinkle flour into the pan so that when your cake is ready it will come out with ease. Please, I'm emphasizing on the generously greasing your pan, and if you know you cannot be generous, please just buy a cupcake liner. Because when you bake your cake and it refuses to come out of the pan, don't say I'm the one that taught you. I will not be responsible, please. So I want some of the cake to be of two colors, like a chocolate and a vanilla cake. So I'm just going to add 1.5 tablespoon of cocoa powder to this particular one, and it's gonna give us that chocolatey color. Then I also added little quantity of water to loosen the batter because I've added 1.5 tablespoon of cocoa powder, so the batter will be thicker than this other one. So to just loosen it up a bit, I added small quantity of water. So at this point you should already be preheating your pot or your oven, whichever one you are using. So if you are using a pot, just add sand or stones to the pot and arrange your cupcakes. And in case you are confused, I have a video on this channel that teaches how to bake cupcake without oven, so you can check that out. So using a spoon, cup, or any measuring item that you have, you just transfer the batter into the cups, making sure that they are of same sizes so that your cakes will come out um in same sizes and not different sizes. So for this other brown colored butter, I will not call it a chocolate butter because this is not how to make a chocolate cake. I'll just put it in the pan side by side like this and we are good. So I'm done putting all of them, and I got 16 pans, that's 16 cupcakes. If you're still watching this tutorial, it means you're getting something. Please do well to hit the like button and also support my channel by subscribing. Thank you. So while our cake is baking, let's just calculate the cost and see how much profit we can get from this. Note, these prices are based on my location. This is how much these items are worth in my location. So a cup of flour here is 200 naira, and I use 2 cups, which makes it 400 naira. I also got 1 cup of sugar for 300 naira. Half sachet of margarine, 500 naira, because 1 sachet of margarine is 1000, so half is 500 naira. Then 3 eggs, 250 per egg, 3 of it is 750. Vegetable oil, a cup of vegetable oil is 500. Half cup is 250, so quarter cup is 130 naira. Baking powder, half tablespoon of baking powder is 100 naira. Flavor, even though I forgot to use in this particular production 100 naira, then gas 700 naira. The last time I bought gas, 1 kg of gas was 1400. So I baked this cupcake in 35 minutes, within 35 minutes. So let's say we use half kg of the gas, because there is no way we would have exhausted 1 kg of gas within 35 minutes. That's why I'm putting 700 naira for gas. And also the packaging leather is 128 naira. We used 16 pieces, or we are going to use 16 pieces of that leather, which gives us 128 naira, because one of the leather is 8 naira. The leather, a pack of that leather is 800 naira, and we have 100 pieces inside. So 800 divided by 100 is 8. So each of it, this means each of the leather, each one of it is 8 naira. So, and we use 16. So 8 times 16 is 128 naira. I don't know if you are clear with that. Then the transport is 300 naira, because I shared the transport amongst the other things that I bought that day, also for commercial purpose. So I'm not going to put the cost of the transport on just one production. So I just share it amongst the things that I bought that day. So for yours, you can include the correct cost of transport if you went to the market just to get these items, which I don't advise. Then we got a total of 3,408 naira, which I approximated to 3,410 naira as my cost, and I got 16 cupcakes from this. So you can go ahead and decide how much you want to sell it, depending on your location and the profits that you desire to get from this. So for mine, I do sell each of them for 300 naira, and I make lots of profits from it. So whatever price you decide to sell, just make sure that your selling price after including your profit is higher than your cost. And it will surprise you to know that the same size and quality of cake you sell at 300 naira, another person is selling it for 500 naira. So what matters is getting your profits from it, and also if your customers are okay with your price. Then another thing that can make you to get extra profit is when you buy your raw materials in bulk, like your flour, sugar, and other stuff you need for your production. When you buy them in bulk, you save extra profits. For example, when I buy half mudu of flour, I don't get anything less than 6 cups from half mudu of flour, and I buy it for 800 naira. But when I am to buy using cup, that 6 cups is going to be 1,200 naira. So you can see the difference. And another thing is, before you buy, make sure you compare the prices in 1, 2, 3 shops. Then you can buy at the lowest price possible. That way your profit is also guaranteed, because you'll be getting the same product and the same quality at the lowest price possible. Now I know you are wondering how we got red velvet cake here when I did not make red velvet cake in this tutorial. The reason is I actually made two types of cake. I actually made two types of cake, which is the vanilla and the red velvet. But I found out that the video will be too long when I add the red velvet cake. That was why I just separated that one. So you can also find the red velvet cake tutorial on this channel. Also, please make sure that your cakes are completely cool before you package, because if it's not completely cold, it will sweat and burn your cake. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this tutorial and also support my channel by subscribing. Thank you. So you can package one in each leather, or 2 in 1 in a leather like I did here. So this leather that I use for 2 cupcakes is the one I got for 800 naira, while the one that can be used for only 1 cupcake is 500 naira or 600 naira thereabout. But either one, they all contain 100 pieces of leather. So this cake can actually last 3 to 4 days outside the fridge, but if you want it to last longer than that, you can just refrigerate using a Ziploc or a plastic container. Just arrange it in, and then you can reheat using your oven or microwave whenever you want to use. Remember, don't forget to like this tutorial and support my channel by subscribing. You can also turn on your notification button so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you and see you in the next tutorial. Bye.